Hi! Many transportation companies struggle with the challenge of the effective reporting ESG emission. Despite of the years of experience, the route optimization, implementing advanced transportation systems, and utilizing telematics and monitor to fleets. Implementing data from the various sources and transforming it into the cohesive reporting systems proved to be the complex process that required considering multiple variables and ensuring data consistency. But you can ask, why it's so complex? Firstly, you have to gather the basics. Where are the freight started? Where is it headed? And how far it is need to be traveled? But distance alone doesn't tell the whole story. To make sense of the emission footprint, you need to dive deeper. The factor is the cargo weight, because a heavier load means the greater emission per ton-mile. Moreover, you have to identify the truck type. It is the light vehicle zipping through the city streets or a 20-ton giant hauling across the borders? Then there is a fuel type. It is powered by the petrol, LNG, or perhaps it's the electricity, each with their own emission profile. But it doesn't stop here. You need to know what is the load type. Is it a fully loaded truck or less than truckload, shipment sharing the space with others? You also look at the fuel consumption, captured in the real time or estimates based on the vehicle performance. Don't forget the emission standard, which defines a legal emission limits for that truck. And for those refrigerated trucks, there are the additional layer of the temperature control, which draws extra energy to keep goods at the right condition. All of this data is often scattered across the different systems hidden in the silos and need to be connected and harmonized. It is a complex dance of the information, and you know that. But when you're done right, it transforms into the clean, actionable insights, helping to understand, manage, and ultimately reduce the emission footprint of the logistic operations.
Go Mobility Tech. From digital strategy through custom software automation analytics and IoT to competitive advantage. Technology that drives transport. Go Mobility Tech.
So the transformation should start with the one key step. You have to implement the cloud-based data hub, and this system will become the foundation of your ESG strategy. It will harmonize diverse data stream from the multiple sources. It will allow the integration of the telemetry data from the vehicles, suppliers information, operational data, and data from example from the transportation management system in one place. And suddenly, instead of the flood of the chaotic data, you have a system capable to the processing, verifying, and reaching 1 million of the records every day. We will address the fundamental challenge and solution that will form the backbone of the effective emission reporting. Here is what you can expect from this session. We will go through the understanding of the complexity of the emission reporting. By that, we will unpack the intricate process of the capturing of the calculation emission, showing how scattered data, ranging from the cargo weights and truck types to fuel consumption and the temperature control, can be integrated and utilized effectively. And then we will focus on the data sources, like telemetry, like a TMS or fleet management system. By that, we will learn how critical is gathering the data from the telemetry system for real-time vehicle insights. We'll get information from the TMS platform for shipments, routing data, and fleet management systems for vehicle-specific performance metrics, ensuring no aspect of the emission reporting is left behind. Then we will move on to the role of the data hubs. They are pretty important, because this we will discover how cloud-based data hubs acts as a centralized nerve center and for harmonizing and processing massive stream of the information, turning the fragmented data into the cohesive systems. We cannot forget about the verification and assurance process to understand how to build trust in your ESG data by implementing robust validation frameworks that ensure accuracy and alignment with the global standards like ISO 14083 or a GLEC framework. And in the end, we will focus on data enhancing by turning raw data into the actionable insights. This is pretty important, as you know, and we will explore the transformative power of advanced data enhancing techniques, where raw data telemetry and operational data are redefined and enriched to create actionable insights for decision making and the compliance. Carbon footprinting is the heart of this transformation. It is a process that analyzes greenhouse gases emission, attributes them to the specific logistic activities, and translates complex transport chains into the actionable insights. But you can ask, why does that matter? Because robust carbon footprinting practices are more than helping logistic companies comply with the regulations. They unlock operational effectiveness, build customer trust, and strengthen competitiveness in the market increasingly driven by the sustainability. So let's start with the basics. How does the carbon footprinting work? Most methods focus on the two components. It is quantifying greenhouse gases emission by determining of the weight of the emission generated with the defined transport and logistics scope, and proper allocating emission to the activities by assigning this emission to the specific activities like fuel consumption during the transport or energy use in the warehouses. The logistics sector uses for that specific key performance information, KPI, you know that, to measure environmental effectiveness. For carriers and logistics services providers, the benchmark is pound for a carbon dioxide per ton mile carried. The lower this number is, the more efficient the network and the smaller the environmental footprint. On the other hand, shippers and freight forwarders focus on the total emission per unit of goods transported, considering variables like a network choice and carried contracts. These metrics allowed companies to make data-driven decisions that align with their sustainability goals. But accurate reporting requires more rather than good intentions. It demands transparency, consistency, and the standardization. That's where the Global Logistic Emission Council, or a GLEC in the short, comes in. We talked about it in the last episode. So, the GLEC framework addressed common challenges of the greenhouse gases emission reporting by promoting the data exchanges and interoperability to improve accuracy and reliability. Moreover, they promote standardized architecture for a carbon accounting system, and this framework empowers stakeholders to showcase their decarbonization efforts and identify the carbon hotspots, like specific geographics, route, or carriers, where they can focus to their emission reduction strategies. And the industry is taking a step further with the ISO standard, like 14083. This is groundbreaking standard focused on the quantification and the reporting of a greenhouse gases emission for a transport chains operator, offering a transparent and consistent methodology for emission measurement. The most reliable method for emission reporting is for the carrier, the one managing the shipment, to calculate emission using the real measured data. But what when it isn't feasible? Because many resort to self-allocations methods which, let's to be honest, are prone to errors and inconsistencies. This is why emission calculations based on the measured values are promoted through the whole supply chain. So how do we achieve accurate real-time emission calculation? The solution lies in implementing a cloud-based data hub. And this is where we consolidate data from the variety sources into the centralized system. Let me break it down for you. So, the data hub ingests and harmonizes information from the multiple sources, including the telemetry platforms that capture the real-time data like a fuel consumption, distance, engine load, and the driving behavior, for example. We can get information from the fleet management systems that provide data based on the global standards, and transport management system to monitor carriers' activities and their performance. And we can get information from the external platforms, like freight exchange platforms, that further enrich the data set. By unifying these diverse streams, the data hub eliminates inconsistencies and ensures emission calculations are based on the solid measurable values. And this is how we move away from the guesswork and toward precision. But it is not just about the collecting data. The real challenge lies in the managing it effectively. Let's talk about the hardness, because the most important is the diversity of this data. Because information comes in the all shapes and sizes. Often, they are incomplete or inconsistent. It can come in the multiple formats like a JSON file, like a CSV, like a API endpoints, or a webhook. It is incredibly tough to compute data when their structure is completely different. Moreover, we have to remember about the scalability, because handling data from the thousands of the vehicles requires the robust system. What is surprising, real-time data accumulate very quickly, and the system has to be prepared to handle the large amount of them. Moreover, we can't forget about the latency, because real-time applications demand instantaneous data processing. There is need to prepare a system for a stream processing and queuing. And the last but not least, data security, because ensuring ownership, privacy, and trustworthiness of the data sharing is not negotiable. This is where next-generation platforms shine. They are designed to handle extreme data volumes and speed, precision, and reliability. For example, there is the technology like edge processing, which shifts part from the workload of the telematics devices, reducing the communication overhead and improving data quality. Also, we have a technology like data lakes, which store and process filtered information, enable advanced analytics and better decision-making. These platforms also reduce costs by minimizing communication payloads and optimizing computational resources. And here is the best part. They are pretty easy to implement, because most systems leverage existing telematics hardware, eliminating need to be costly physical intervention. Most systems leverage existing telematic hardware, eliminating need of the costly physical intervention. So let's imagine this: the system that processes over a billion records every day, delivering insight in the real time. So you can get accurate data on the fuel consumption, driving behavior, and the emission, ready to use for reporting and optimization. And with edge processing, the data is validated at the source, ensuring the highest level of the accuracy while reducing data transmission volume. Okay, so let's move on to the data sources. Telemetry is no longer just a tool for monitoring peak performance. It has become a backbone of the greenhouse gas emission accounting in the modern logistics. The companies face increasingly demand for accurate emission reporting, and the telemetry systems provide the critical data needed to measure, monitor, and reduce environmental impact. So today, we will explore how telemetry works and the essential information delivered of effective greenhouse gas accounting. Because telemetry systems are built to collect, process, and transmit data from the vehicles and equipment. In the context of the greenhouse gas emission accounting, of the systems provide a precise, real-time information on the key parameters, such as fuel consumptions, which are measured directly from the vehicle sensors and the engine control units. Furthermore, we can get information about the engine load, like an insight into the operational efficiency and the fuel burn rates. We can get information about the idle time, which is an essential metric for identifying wasted fuels and the emissions. And in the end, we can get the assumptions and the insights about the driving behaviors. There are the factors like accelerations, braking, and speeding, which directly affect the fuel efficiency and the emission. And this data forms the foundation for calculating carbon dioxide equivalent emissions and attributing them for specific logistic activities. But there is a challenge. Vehicles generate massive amounts of the road data. Processing this data centrally can lead to delays, high communication costs, and the bandwidth issues. That is where the edge computing comes to play. Many telemetry systems can perform the edge computing. They are processing raw data directly on the vehicles. Instead of the transmission every details like individual fuels injection, many telemetry systems now perform the edge computing. They are processing raw data directly on the vehicles. Instead of the transmitting every detail like an individual fuel injection, events of second-by-second speed data, edge device calculate aggregated results and send only the essential insights. For example, instead of the raw fuel consumption data, the system calculates total liters consumed during the trip. Or instead of sending every acceleration event, the system provides the aggregated store for a driving efficiency. Or real-time alerts such as extensive idling or abnormal fuel usage, they are triggered and transmitted instantly. So, telemetry system also integrates seamlessly with the broader emission reporting frameworks. For instance, fuel consumption data and the distance travel feed directly into the algorithms that calculate grams of the carbon dioxide per ton of mile and the key metrics for logistic providers. Similarly, idling data and engine load metrics are used to identify ineffectiveness and recommend actionable strategies to reduce emission. The ability to connect telemetry data to cloud platforms is what that makes it so powerful. Because one process data reached to the cloud, it's combined with the other inputs like road information, carrier contacts, warehouse energy use, providing the comprehensive view of the emission across the entire supply chain. This end-to-end visibility allows companies to pinpoint the carbon hotspots and prioritize carbonization efforts where they will have a greatest impact. So let's move to the transport management system and focus what we can gather from them. While they are primarily designed to plan, execute, and optimize the physical movement of the goods, the TMS are also a vital tool for greenhouse gases accounting. Here is what it brings to the table. Because we can get the information about the route information, like a TMS, they are tracks planned versus the actual routes, and they are enabling precise calculation for emission based on the distance traveled, and they are helping to identify more efficient pathways. They are also provide the information about the shipment details. They are capture the cargo weight and the volume, which are essential for determining emission per ton of mile. Additionally, it records whether the load is a less than truck load or they are full truck load. They are allowing for a more granular emission tracking based on the load utilization. Pretty often there are information about the temperature control. For refrigerated vehicles, TMS provides insight into the energy consumption required to maintaining the temperature-sensitive shipments. These additional data layers help attribute emission to the temperature control logistic accuracy. For more, we can get information about the fuel usage tracking because some The transport management system platforms integrate directly with the telemetry systems to provide detailed fuel consumption data, linking operational decisions like route changes and vehicle selection to their environmental impact. We can get information about the idle times and delays. Whether due to the traffic, loading or waiting, transport management system help identify ineffectiveness that increase emission. Standardizing vehicle data across diverse fleet is crucial for accurate emission accounting, because the fleet management system makes this possible by providing the unified framework for collecting and sharing critical information about the trucks. So these standards allow the seamless integration of the detailed vehicle data into the emission reporting system. We can get information about the truck type, for example, which identifies the vehicle category, which is the light commercial truck, or it is the urban truck, or the heavy-duty truck. This categorization is vital for tailoring emission calculation based on the specific operational profiles. Moreover, we can get information about the fuel type, because the fleet management system captures the fuel details, including whether their trucks run on the petrol, CNG, LNG, LPG, or electricity. This enables precise tracking of the fuel consumption pattern and the emission specific for energy sources. In some cases, we can get information about the fuel consumption. It is because real-time monitoring of the fuel usage sometimes it is extracted directly from the producer's platform, allowing companies to correlate consumption with the factors like load weight, terrain, and the driving behavior. And in the end, we can get information about the emission standard. This granular data enables fleet operators to create detailed emission reporting tailored to each vehicle specification. For instance, the fleet operator can compare the emission of the electric urban truck with those of the diesel heavy-duty vehicles over the specific route, providing insight into the fuel efficiency and the carbon reduction strategy. So, transport management system and the fleet management system aren't just a tool for logistic management. They are critical data sources for emission accounting and sustainability. By leveraging their capabilities, companies can optimize operations, reduce environmental impact, and meet the growing demands of the transparent reporting. So, we can move on to the data hubs. They are pretty important because the architectural pattern designed to the process of the multiple streams of the data, to validate them, enrich it, and to store it across the various applications. So think about it as a central nervous system for your logistic operations. It consolidates data from the vehicles, shippers, warehouses, and the system into the single efficient ecosystem. So data hubs combine the data lakes and data warehouse. But don't be afraid, it's not so complex. Because data lakes, they are just store the massive amounts of the raw unstructured data, allowing independent scaling of the resources. And the data warehouse, they are handling this data, querying ready data for a business intelligence and the analytics. So when they are combined, they form a powerful system capable to supporting machine learning, artificial intelligence, and the real-time decision-making. But we have to address the common challenge: data silos. Traditionally, logistic data has been fragmented across systems, creating ineffectiveness and limited visibility. So the data hub eliminates this silo by fostering collaboration across the value chain. However, this must be done carefully to protect sensitive commercial information such as the fuel cost or profit margin, ensuring that the data sharing does not compromise competitive position. With a cloud-based approach, you can collect real-time data from the multiple sources, whether it's the Internet of Things sensors on your truck, supplier data from your partners, or the workforce metrics from your HR systems. Everything gets pulled into the centralized cloud-based repository that is accessible anytime, anywhere. So the beauty of this system is that they're highly customizable. It can be set the permissions for sensitive data, ensuring that only authorized personnel have an access to the certain information. You can even share specific data point for external shareholders for a limited time. It's perfect for audits or investor reports. And also, more modern data hubs leverage by combining of the data lakes and data warehouses that they incorporate advanced features like a data integrity. They provide a caching and indexing for a fastest data access, and they also provide and machine learning and artificial intelligence for extracting insight and making predictions. For instance, a company can use this setup to predict vehicle breakdowns based on the engine diagnostic, ensuring proactive maintenance and reducing downtime. Data lakes, they are game-changing solutions that enables the seamless integration, storage, and processing ESG data from across your operations. A data lake is a centralized repository that stores raw, unstructured, and structured data from the variety of the sources. Unlike the traditional database, the data lakes are designed for scalability, flexibility, and integration, making them ideal for ESG data, which is often comes from diverse formats and from the multiple systems. Let's take a closer look to their advantages. Of course, building and maintaining the data lakes come with the challenge as a data governance, because ensuring that the data is accurate, traceable, and aligned with the ESG report standards is essential. Robust governance frameworks and metadata tagging are key. Moreover, the challenge is privacy and security, because the sensitive information, such as supplier costs, operational metrics, must be protected. Advanced encryption and role-based access control help to maintain privacy and compliance. So data lakes are more just a storage solution. They are the foundation of the integrating, analysis, and leveraging ESG data at scale. By breaking down silos and enabling advanced analytics, they provide the insight you need to lead the sustainability and the compliance. Now, we have to dive into the crucial yet overlooked aspect of the sustainability reporting. It's of course verification and assurance. Because let's be honest, your ESG data is the only as good as it is trusted. If stakeholders can't rely on your information you provide, your efforts can fall flat. So, how do you ensure that your ESG reporting is both credible and transparent? Let's get into it. Because transparency and credibility are the heart of the ESG reporting. Today's stakeholders, whether they are the investors, regulators, customers, expect the companies to provide the accurate, reliable, and transparent data. But here is the challenge. Independently, verification and validation of your ESG reporting can be a complex and resource-intensive process. So, how to tackle with this challenge? It is where the custom cloud solution come into play. These platforms not only streamline your reporting process, but also enhance your transparency and credibility to your ESG data. But how cloud technology can make a difference? One of the standout features of the cloud-based ESG solutions is their ability to provide a clear audit trail. This means every step of your data collection, validation, and reporting process is documented. Stakeholders can trace the origin of the data, ensuring both accurate and aligned with the recognized standards. These audit trails don't just enhance transparency, they also promote confidence among the stakeholders. By providing real-time access to the most up-to-date data, you can show that your organization is truly committed to the sustainable practices. And I can surprise you. They can be even better. Cloud platforms come with a built-in data validation tools that continuously monitor your ESG data. These tools automatically flag any inconsistencies and inaccuracies, allowing you to correct errors before they make any way to your reports. And then we can add the cherry on the top and add an AI to the mix, and you have got yourself the almost automatic reporting solution. The system continuously checks your data, flags outliers, and prompts any correction, saving time and ensuring your integrity of your reports. But we have to turn down. To truly build credibility, many companies are turning to the third-party verification. This adds the extra layer of the assurance, making your reports even more trustworthy. However, managing this process can be a logistical nightmare, especially when collaborating with the external auditors. And this is where custom cloud solutions really shine. They provide secure and collaborating environment where you can share your ESG data with the auditors seamlessly. The platform can automate the data extraction, presentation, and even reporting, making an entire audit process faster and more efficient. By using these cloud-based tools, you not only save time but also reduce the resources needed to manage third-party verification. This way, your company can focus on what really matters, making positive impact. There is no doubt, when we talk about the cloud solution, security is a top priority. Custom cloud platforms are built on the scalable and secure infrastructure, enabling that the data is safe from the branches and unauthorized access. With cloud providers implementing rigorous security measures, you can rest easy knowing your ESG data is protected. And plus, the cloud elastic computing capabilities means that as your data needs to grow, your system can scale effortlessly without compromising performance. But collecting data is just the first step. The real challenge is making it sure it's accurate. It is where the data validation and cleaning techniques come into play. Because using custom cloud solution, you can automate data validation runtimes and catch inconsistencies and errors even before they become a problem. So imagine this, having automated system flagging duplicate entities and correcting outliers, ensuring data is both accurate and trustworthy. This way, you reduce risk of misleading reports, which is crucial for maintaining trust with your stakeholders. And if you want to take a step further, you can even integrate AI models to analyze your data and extract insights without breaking a sweat. So if you want to take a step further, you can integrate artificial intelligence model that will not only analyze your data, but also provide actionable recommendations with no effort on your part. So imagine this, a system that analyzes historical data and automatically suggests optimal time window for loading and unloading, minimizing the downtime and streamlining logistic operation. Raw data holds an immersive potential, but it is true value in released through the process of the data enrichment. By leveraging years of the accumulating experience, precise measurements, and advanced algorithms, we can not only improve data quality, but also generate insight that enhance efficiency, accuracy, and sustainability in the logistic operations. For example, empty trip analysis can help identify underutilized resources and suggest the best strategies for planning return loads to minimize cost and emissions. So data enrichment begins with the data acquisition, but it goes much farther, through validation, enhancement, and refinement to ensure that it's ready to the strategic decision-making. This allows companies, for instance, compare efficiency different carriers in the term of delivery punctuation and the cost, enabling the choice of the most reliable and cost-effective logistic partners. You can visualize emission data, track social impact metrics, and conduct comprehensive predictive modeling, all with a single integrated platform that delivers a real business value. These analytic tools allow you to identify trends, spot correlations, and make data-driven decisions. And with the visualization that are easy to understand, you can engage stakeholders more effectively, turning your ESG data into the powerful storytelling tool. One of the most exciting features of the cloud-based analytics is the ability to conduct scenario analysis and predictive modeling. It isn't just about looking for a past performance. It is just about the forecasting future risks and opportunities. With these forward-looking capabilities, you can assess the potential impact of the new regulations, shift in the consumer behavior, or change in your supply chain. This allows your organization to proactively adjust strategies and stay ahead on the curve. Our team consists of the dedicated experts in the cloud solution and sustainability who are ready to guide you through this journey. With our deep understanding of the emission reporting and advanced technologies, we can help you transform ESG reporting from the mere compliance requirement into the strategic advantages. By adapting our solutions, you are not just optimizing your processes, you are contributing to the cleaner, greener future. So let's join forces to create the future where data-driven insight elevate your business while leaving the positive legacy for our planet. Together, we can build a more resilient, sustainable world where logistics is not only efficient but also environmentally, socially responsible. The message is clear: sustainability and profitability aren't opposites. They are the partners. With the right tools, your logistic operations can drive meaningful environmental impact while enhancing your competitive edge. So, thank you for joining us today. If you are ready to take the next steps of transforming your ESG strategy, don't hesitate to reach out. Let's shape the future of logistics together.
Go Mobility Tech.